the award is presented to someone that has not only been a successful banker, who has also contributed to the development of agricultural banking in their community. This year, the Bruning Award recipient is Joe Kessie, Senior Vice President, Commercial South Regional Manager, Lake City Bank in Warsaw, Indiana. To help us to get to know Joe a little better and to present the award, please welcome to the stage Joe's son, Taylor Kessie, and the President and CEO of Lake City Bank, David Finley.
Good morning, everyone. Like I said, I'm Taylor Kessie. I'm Joe's son. I'll start off by saying, it's always special to read an article about a family member's success or to get a compliment from a coworker, but to be able to be here in person for this recognition of Dad's work is really special. So on behalf of my mom and sister, who are also here this morning, we'd like to thank the ABA for inviting us here to join. As was said, both David Finley and Dad are going to follow me here, and I'm sure we'll talk more about Dad's career and the highlights within that. But before we get to that, I'd like to spend a few minutes to talk about Dad's character. The recipe for success or leadership or impact, however you want to put a label to it, is usually a mixed bag of ingredients. And outside of Dad's expertise, the ingredient that I felt always described him best, and one that I've appreciated more as I've gotten older, is his desire to serve others. He's made a career out of seeking success in others, and that same mentality has been a true asset to our community and family as well. Yeah, as a kid, I thought Dad did not have any hobbies. It wasn't into anything. But 20 years later, as I look back as an adult, I realized that that's not true. Instead, Dad and Mom both chose to spend their time investing in the community. It's probably safe to say that it'd be easier to count the number of community boards in which Dad did not serve on at some point than those that did. And more importantly than that, Dad's always been an active board member, one who worked to put both his intellectual and sweat equity into the organizations he served. My sister and I grew up watching my parents help build gazebos or playgrounds or organize community work days to improve our town. In more recent years, Dad's dedicated his time to help start a college bag at a local university, serve on regional planning committees, and provide counsel to a host of business and community projects in northern Indiana. In small rural communities, it takes people with that kind of dedication and energy, and Dad has always had that. His impact on the ag sector has been no different. Behind me, or to the side of me here, is an old bank advertisement from the early 90s. Dad's in the back row and I'm the little kid on the tractor. I think that was taken at Tom Farm's shop, and I was really excited for an actual tractor ride that probably followed that photo shoot. But the reason I show that today is because it's a reminder of the influence that Dad has had on me. For the past 9 years, I've had the opportunity to work in the same area, not in banking, but in agriculture in Dad's area, and share a lot of the same customers. And having a firsthand view of Dad's impact to the ag sector has been wonderful, and it's something that I'm always proud of. Dad's commitment to others' success has really benefited all areas of our state's ag sector, from the livestock industry to grain production, commodity groups, education, large agribusinesses, You name it, Dad's had his hand in it and provided support and counsel. When Dad gives advice, people tend to listen, and it's not because of a loud voice. It's because they respect his expertise and they've come to trust that they know that he'll put their interests first. There's no doubt that our industry owes a debt to Dad's humble and wise counsel over the last 30 plus years, and to be able to witness a small portion of that firsthand has really been a blessing. So I'll end my part before handing it off to David by just saying that, again, congrats to Dad. This is a big honor. The Bruning Award is a recognition of a servant leader. And living out that title takes a daily commitment to wake up and put others' needs first and their success first. And Dad has always met that challenge. Your community, your industry, your colleagues, and your family are better off due to your years of commitment. So with that, I will pass this off to David Finley with Lake City Bank.
Good morning. Taylor, I'll tell you this comment about your dad and hobbies. One hobby he's picked up here in the last few years is golf. And anything you can do to pull him away from golf, we'll accept, because he comes in with this 47 handicap and wins every golf outing we have. I'm going to pick up on something Jason said at the start. He talked about a mentor that he had at the Fed when he first started his career that said, you got to take the long view. And this room is full of people that have always taken the long view with their clients, with the ag sector, and within their banks. And I think that defines so much of what Joe Kessie's involvement has been at Lake City Bank and in the industry. Through thick and thin, Joe's a believer in the ag sector and has instilled that belief and that confidence in us over his 24 years at Lake City Bank. Joe had a career before the bank. We don't like to talk about it because of our crosstown competitor. But when Joe joined the bank in 1997, he brought with him a tremendous amount of lifetime experience that we benefited from. Now, you couldn't read that in the little ad that Taylor just showed, but the text said this group of bankers, including Taylor apparently, had 55 years of combined experience in the agricultural industry. Joe is almost at 55 by himself right now of experience. But he brings that experience to us and just makes a massive difference in our business and our positioning in the agricultural community. Lake City Bank is a $6.3 billion bank, but I'll tell you, agribusiness represents the highest concentration on our balance sheet. We depending on the time of the year, we get as high as $400 million in agricultural outstandings. That's a big chunk of our balance sheet. We revolve around Joe, but Joe has brought together a group of industry experts that really come from farming. They come from the agricultural community. It's part of the bank's DNA that we don't take C&I lenders, the manufacturing lenders, and say, here's a couple ag accounts. We take experienced people in agriculture, and they become part of Joe's team, and therefore become great confidence builders to us as management. We've been doing this for 149 years at Lake City Bank, and agriculture in northern Indiana has been a part of that balance sheet the entire time. But it really is in the last 24 years that Joe has taken this franchise and grown it year in and year out, decade in and decade out into what it is today. And then the other thing that, going back to a little bit of the discussion earlier, it's not just a good portfolio, it's a high quality portfolio. I'm very proud of the fact that I can say in my 21 years at the bank, we've never had a single dollar of a charge-off related to an ag loan. I can't speak to before that, but that almost predates Joe. These guys know what they're doing, and Joe's led them exceptionally well in that. It's funny, Taylor, I don't know if you see my slides, but you said when your dad talks, people listen. And I suspect that is true of every single lender in this room. You guys have the confidence of your management teams. You're part of the management team. You bring ag to us. Now, I'm reminded of a story that I heard on voicemail a couple weeks ago when it was announced that Joe was receiving this award. A guy named Doug Grant was one of my predecessors as CEO. He served the bank from 83 to 98. So he and Joe overlapped just a short period of time, but then he served on the board and got exposed to Joe and his expertise. And a couple weeks ago, Doug Grant called Joe and left him a voicemail, and in voicemail he said, you know, Joe, before you came to the bank, I couldn't even spell farm. And when I left, I could spell agriculture. And that is true. Doug was, as am I, Doug was an old manufacturing C&I lender. And to have the expertise that you all bring, but particularly in our world that Joe brings, is exceptionally favorable for us. He's not a one-trick pony. Not only does Joe run that agricultural portfolio and all ag lenders report to it, he also manages our South Region commercial banking team. Today that is about a $900 million portfolio on our $6 billion balance sheet. Between ag and C&I, he's got an incredibly large portfolio that he manages with a great team of people at the bank. One thing Joe is really good at, and I suspect everyone